Well, welcome aboard, ladies and gentlemen, to our 29th edition of our Mental Health Tuesday. My name is Muhammad Ali Machausa. As your moderator, my co-moderator is Amani Nouri, who will help me in picking your voices as time goes by. The reason we are holding the Mental Health Tuesday is to give a space for us to understand why our mental health is behaving in the way it does. Also to understand matters that affect our mental health and how we can cope with them. And also for us to be able to advise the people around our lives, our families, our friends, so that they are not affected adversely. As we start this session, we will call upon our Lord God to be with us, and we thank God for the opportunity of this meeting, the opportunity of our life and of our health. We ask of him to be with us as we continue with this conversation, and that by the end of this, he shall have guided us and we shall always glorify his name. In the name of God, the glorified, we pray and believe. Amen. Today, we will be talking about how the river of cruelty has affected our relationships. And we may be biased a lot. Today being the International Women's Day, we may be biased to tweak it a lot more on the experiences of women and how those experiences have shaped their lives. So we do this as Samba Sports with Agenda every Tuesday, 8 p.m. And we are doing this in partnership with all of you, also with the Green String Network and Diplomats for Health, and also partners in government and the private sector. So welcome aboard, and may we start. Edwin Misheka, all the way from Nairobi, Diplomats for Health, karibu sana. Can we hear your voice before we start?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I am glad to be with you.
Okay, Edwin, it's a pleasure to have you. So I want us to start this session by reflecting, maybe for the next 5 minutes. What are the experiences that you know that have happened or have been meted out to women in their rivers of cruelty that may have affected their development, their personal development, their ascendancy to leadership or representation? Kindly, if we can have some volunteers to just give us a sneak preview, and then we will allow Kadzo and Omar to take us through the session. Anyone? What are the experiences that you feel may have affected women development? The experiences that are part of their river of cruelty. We talked about the rivers of cruelty last week, and I'm sure we know what that means. Anybody? Can I see a hand? Or a comment on the come on, guys. There are no experiences that we know of that may have affected women's development. Aha, we have one from Andy Uta. She says, emphasis on how a woman looks rather than on her talents in workplace or school. Is that true? I think that's true. That when we focus more on the looks rather than the talents, these days we say beauty with brains, all right? Even as the brains are there, but then we must say that it's beauty with brains. What if they are not beautiful? Thank you very much, Andy, for that contribution. Cephas, your hand is up. What is your contribution, sir?
Mohammed, I think some of them are cultural beliefs or traditional beliefs.
Very true. Can you give us an example so that you put us on the frame?
For example, it is always believed that women are always under the control of men. That men should always control women. And in some cases, the cultural practices, maybe let's say the FGM and denial of equal opportunities.
Very true. So those may have shaped their rivers of cruelty that may have affected, you know, basically their current lives and also the way they may be aggressive in pursuit of their success, their development, and their progress. Thank you very much. I have a feeling quite a number of us are contributing on the call chat. Thank you. I have Mwanaisha Kwania who says gender norms and gender-based violence cases. Maybe Mwanaisha can expound on that. What do you mean by gender norms and
when you say about gender norms, I'm talking about the feeling that maybe a family, how to raise children. A mother is supposed to be on the forefront on the raising of a child than a man. So you may find that a father is not being supportive enough in raising a child in the our homes, but the mother is at the forefront. She goes to school, she takes the baby to the hospital, she goes everywhere where the child is involved, but the man is just there and not helping anything because there's that belief that the most contribution that in raising a child should come from a mother or a woman.
that is a wonderful input. Not wonderful in its content because it is sad reality, but a wonderful input all the same. Thank you very much. I'm sure Kadzo and Omar will dig deeper in these kind of insights. Thank you very much, Mwanaisha. Abigail, your hand is up. What say you?
Oh, yeah, my contribution was that the society has made this woman to be very inferior. When it comes to relationship, most times their voice is always taken away. Like you have no say when it comes to any matter. So with that, it has made women to feel so inferior. Like you cannot make any decision when you have this man with you. So the defense mechanism is that their voice is taken away. They cannot make any right decision, or rather, if even if they make right decision, they will be judged like, you're just a woman. What are you trying to say? Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Another quite an astounding contribution, but thank you all the same, Abigail. People from Nairobi have woken up and they want to speak. Edwin Misheka, your hand was up. What is your contribution, sir?
Yeah, also I had something to share. Like mostly you get that most ladies at workplace, some are at the places where the environment where they work, they can be bullied or they can be abused either sexually or emotionally because of their gender. I think that one can also contribute a lot to their life, to their day and age at the moment.
Wow, thank you very much. Another sad reality being revealed. I hope I'm not taking all the points away from Kazo and Omar. My apologies if I'm doing that. Collins Oteo, your hand is up. What is your contribution, sir?
Hello. Yes, this river of cruelty pia shape how women are being taken in the society. For example, kama uliona what happened to the lady yesterday in Nairobi. how people perceive women, that they cannot have a voice in the society, which is very, very wrong. That's why you see they are being bullied even at the daytime and nothing can be done. So this level of cruelty pia inakandamiza wanawake sana, and we need to look at it properly.
Thank you, Collins. Again, that's another revelation out there. Thank you very much. Let me see if anybody has dropped a contribution. Yes, Andy Uta is there again, saying from Hannah. Okay, this from Hannah. Hi, Hannah. Human trafficking. We don't talk about this enough, but there are more slaves in the world today than there were in the time of the transatlantic slave trade. Most of them are girls from developing regions who are trafficked. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Hannah, for lighting a spotlight on this one. It's a matter that needs conversation. Thank you very much. Kazo Jali, completely agree, Hannah. Okay, Kazo is actually nodding to what Hannah has said. And I think trafficking in person is an agenda that has been swept under the carpet for so long. Even as we are talking about gender-based violence, sexual and gender-based violence, and also transactional sex, we don't say enough about trafficking in persons, which is a huge eyesore, especially in the western and northern regions of Africa. Thank you very much, Hannah, for shoving a spotlight on that one. Well, thank you very much for your contribution. It's about time now. I can give it to Kadzo, or is it Omar? Who goes first? Kindly take the podium.
Hello, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me. Oh, you can hear me. I can hear. I hope we are all doing well. Happy International Women's Day. Although I feel like for most of us women today, especially women in Kenya, today has not been a very happy day for us. Yesterday, there was a very terrible incident that is going to tie into our chat. But before we start, I think we should do some breathing exercises. I'll just be honest, this is more for me than you guys, because we are going into a topic that I sometimes get really heated about and really passionate about. So I think we can do a couple of breathing exercises so that we can all calm down and we can all be able to have a rational discussion and maybe learn from each other. So we're going to do 5 breaths. 5 breaths in, 5 breaths out. So we can start now. In, out, release. I want you to bring your minds to this conversation, to let all your stress for the day hang by the door for a second. Let's remember that we are here to learn from each other. This is a safe space. Anything you have to say is protected here and respected here. And I especially want us to feel like we all have a voice. Thank you. So we can start. I feel like a while ago when we were discussing traumas, we discussed different kinds of traumas. We have collective traumas, historical traumas, cultural traumas, structural traumas, secondary traumas, PTS, and participation-induced traumas. And I feel like women have experienced these kinds of traumas their whole lives, whether it is collective trauma, for instance, SGBV, that is a collective trauma that women experience everywhere. Gender-based violence is a very big component, sadly, of our current society. And then historical trauma, where historically women were not allowed to use their voices. For instance, even vote. Once upon a time, women were not allowed to vote. They're not allowed to make any decisions. Then we have cultural traumas, perhaps in terms of beauty standards. What are they and how do they affect us? And then structural traumas, where there are some services, commodities, opportunities that women are not allowed to access, even today in 2022. We also have vicarious or secondary trauma. These are the traumas you may have witnessed as a woman that may have happened to other women that may have traumatized you. We also have participation in those induced trauma. This is where you as a woman also participate in traumatizing fellow women, or even just people in general, children, men, women. And then now we have the post-traumatic stress, which happens after you've gone through something so terrible, or you've witnessed something so terrible happen to someone, and you keep replaying it over and over and over again. I think we can agree at this point that these traumas are very real. Yesterday, there was an incident that really brought forward collective traumas and cultural traumas and structural traumas. So that's why I said when I started that for most of us, it was a very sad beginning for International Women's Day. Normally we meet up and remind ourselves why it is so amazing to be women. But today people were marching, protesting, crying, angrily posting about another trauma that we have witnessed, another trauma that most women witness. I think, so with that said, we will start with SGBV, and then we are going to try and map it with our river of cruelty. Perhaps, Mohammed, you can assist me there. You share the screen. So as Mohammed shares our screen, if you can remember from last week, there it is. We have adverse feelings as a result of a traumatic event happening to you. Then those adverse feelings bring about defense mechanisms that we employ so that we are protected from feeling the way we felt when we first experienced these adverse feelings. And because of that, we will have unintended consequences. And ultimately, our beliefs and attitudes will be heavily influenced by our defense mechanisms and the unintended consequences that occurred. So let us start perhaps with how our culture has affected us. I want to remind you, this is a very interactive session, so please feel free to talk about these things. You can share your own personal experiences. You can share experiences anonymously. I have a lot of stories, so maybe I can start. We are looking at inferiority of women who can't make the right decisions. This is a point that Abigail had given us. And growing up as a woman from a Giriama family, we have a lot of culture in place that sometimes could feel limiting. For me, this definitely affected me. When I was younger, there was always, oh, you can't do this and this and this and this unless you get the permission of your dad, your uncle, your brothers. It just goes on and on and on and on. Once my dad sadly passed away, I couldn't do anything without the permission of other male relatives. That was very limiting. And it definitely gave me a confidence issue where I will second guess my decisions. So as you can see from our river, the adverse feelings was that anxiety. Anytime I had to make a decision, I will get anxious. So my defense mechanism was that I just wouldn't try, or any decision I would make on my own because I would be so scared of being judged, I would hide my decisions. Let me tell you, even applying for law school, I had to do it in secret because I was so scared of what my family would say, especially my brothers. And of course, there was a fallout. After that, there was a very big fallout. So my unintended consequences of not making decisions for myself or hiding my decisions from other people was that I constantly felt alone. Like I was the only one who could make the right decisions for me, because every other decision that was made for me, I felt was very limiting to the kind of person I am. It didn't fit my personality. It didn't fit my dreams and my hopes for the future. And my beliefs and attitudes from that was just that I didn't need anyone else to make my decisions. That was it ultimately. So I will just do things without consulting people. Things that became very detrimental to my own health even. But that was my belief and attitude, that any decision I make, they'll just assume it's the wrong decision. I finally came to accept this, but I will add that this was a privilege of growing up. I was now able to, let's say, get a seat at the table, but I really had to fight for it, because even now I still have older siblings who are skeptical about my decision making, but I accepted that that is always going to be the case. I'm always going to be their baby sister. They're always going to try and do things they feel, or try and make decisions that they feel are good for me. But after accepting that, they also had to accept that I have a voice, I'm very strong-willed, and now we have discussions. We don't always see eye to eye, but there's mutual respect in there, because I have proven myself that I was capable to make these decisions. So you see, if women keep on being told that they're inferior, that they can't make the right decisions, that they're being judged for the decisions they make, especially in regards to their life. Women who, for instance, don't want to have children, women who, for instance, don't want to get married, are heavily judged in our community. Am I right? We judge women who decide not to have children. People assume there's always something wrong with them. And people assume that they will always regret that decision later on in life. And this is part of the cultural traditions and mechanisms that are put in place that women have that holds them back. You're called a spinster when you're not married. You are shamed. People will start saying things that they don't even know are true. Rumors will start flying around about you, that maybe you are barren, maybe you are cursed, especially that you are cursed. So these are situations that are happening in our society even today. That is one example of how women being treated as if they are unable, as if they don't have autonomy over their bodies. This is how it affects them. So you become angry as a woman. You start fighting everyone. Every discussion that is held according to these topics, you become defensive. because you've had it over and over and over again. I don't know if we are together until there. If there's anyone right now who has any addition to make, perhaps who has an example similar to the one I've given, or even different, but that touches on how inferiority, treating women as inferior beings, can affect their development. How maybe you being coddled or babied or restricted too much as a young child or a young adult has affected your decision-making process as an adult. Maybe I can give one or two people and then we can continue, or you can also contribute on the call chat.
Thank you very much, Kadzo. Let's hear anybody. You can raise your hand if you have something to share, or if you don't want to speak, you may share on the call chat. Everybody is free. If I can read a few from the call chat, I see Ibrahim Premji saying gender biases is especially more pronounced in today's workplaces. This makes them mindful when expressing authority or are focused to downplay their accomplishments or intelligence. This is an effect of the river of cruelty, in that you have to downplay your accomplishments or your intelligence so that you can accommodate other people as a woman. Thank you very much, Premji, for this sad reality. But yes, thank you for sharing. Again, Premji says, and many limit their aspirations due to personal or home obligations. That yes, they have to second guess their aspirations or let go of their aspirations because they want to accommodate or to fit within a certain frame. Thank you very much, Ibrahim, for that. Sad reality again. Umu Sebe says, hey, volume iko chini, madam. Maybe when she comes back, she will raise her voice. I was hearing her fine from my end, but maybe Kadzo, you may consider putting on the volume a bit. Andy Uta says, yes, even in American society as well, this is present in some communities. So discrimination of women, not only in Kenya, in our localities, in our villages, but then Andy, all the way from the US, says even in their society, that discrimination or the bias against women also happens. So let's hear anybody. You may raise your hand and share a short story, or you may write your contributions on the call chat. Anybody? No hand yet. Anybody?
Could we have the question repeated?
Okay, Kadzo was asking if any one of us is ready and willing to share a story that shows how past experiences adversely affect women development now, which is part of the rivers of cruelty. If you have a story, Andy, you may share that shows how women are suffering from their past experiences or from things that were done to them in their past. Yes, Andy, take the podium.
Well, something that Kadso mentioned, really just, I think she touched on it a bit in being taken seriously, that being an issue, even when it comes to some such simple matters of, maybe you're a student in school and you have a favorite subject or you have something you would really like to pursue later, but you may get talked down as a woman for trying to pursue that and dissuaded from doing so, or potentially even just laughed at for having that aspiration in a sense. I don't know if I can speak totally to the local experience, but I can definitely speak to that experience in my case of having something I really wanted to do and being laughed at or ridiculed by my family for attempting to do so. So I know that that is something, especially as a woman, that can stick with you for a very long time.
Very true, Andy. I know that happens here as well. And what does happen is when it's a woman aspiring, to do something, or maybe just going about their life, it will always be like, even that woman, like, even as you being a woman, you also have those kind of wild aspirations. Like, you're not enough. You're not an enough human being to aspire things that only men are stampeding in aspiring for. So that's a good experience shared. Andy. Anybody else? Maybe what I can share, and I give it back to Kadzo, is that I have also seen women who have said, "I don't give a damn," and it has really impacted on their development and the people around them. So, if you flick the coin, and you women who say, I don't give a damn, I am focused," they have contributed immensely in our lives. My mom was one of those who said she doesn't give a damn what anybody said, but she raised some of us to our levels, even as she never went to school. She was a complete illiterate, but she made us who we are today. So it all sides are true. Ibrahim Premji, I've seen you raising a hand.
Yeah, thank you. Perhaps we have seen this a lot. There are some behaviors that when men exhibit are being taken as being assertive. They're being considered strong and commanding or direct, but the same assertiveness is done by women. They are regarded as aggressive or pushing. This is more particularly, especially in leadership or in workplaces. So that's also a point of concern. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. And there are some terminologies that are used, kwamba nikiherehere or nikicheche, because why are you so outspoken like a man? So a woman is not supposed to be outspoken. So thank you very much, Ibrahim. Kazo, can you take it back?
Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me well now, or better. These have been
Sorry, Kazo, we have Abigail who has risen her hand. Maybe something burning. Abigail.
Oh, thank you. I've just remembered something. I've just remembered something, that there's this say which has been going round and round from the social media, like, nifanye hivi kwani mimi ni mwanamke. I don't know. According to me, I feel like they are making women to be so inferior, like undermining women. I've been seeing it a lot, and I've just decided to raise it here.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Abby. I concur, and I empathize with you. I also understand where that is coming from. Thank you very much. Kazo, please.
Yes. Abby, hiyo story ya kwani mimi ni mwanamke, I don't want to bring my feminist politics into this conversation. But yes, I commiserate. I have had to forcefully turn a blind eye to these hashtags and stuff. It's very difficult when you feel like you yourself, you have to filter every movement. You're scared that you might take, especially on the internet, you might take a wrong corner and you're watching something you don't want to watch. You're taking the wrong corner and it's just women bashing and all this. It's just very saddening. That's why I said earlier that this Women's Day has not been a very happy one. Sometimes we feel like we are making such great strides for women, and then something happens and you start questioning yourself. Will this situation ever change? Will women's voices ever matter? Or will they matter only when we talk about situations that men want us to talk about? So let's just continue, because this gets me really heated up, and actually it breaks my heart. It makes me very sad. Actually, on my timeline today, I saw that was it 2018? We actually had a march in Nairobi, and the tagline of this march was "Stop Killing Us." If you guys remember, around, I don't know if it's because media visibility is lower now, but there was a time every day on the news there was a murdered woman, a murdered young child, and it was so heartbreaking. We walked, we marched, we met fellow women, we cried together, but when does it end? Where women are still being murdered. Excuses are being made for this. So we go now to our topic here, SGBV. This is a very sensitive topic. So I just want to remind us that we are in a safe space. Perhaps we might discuss something that might trigger you. I just want to remind you to breathe and let it out. You are safe now. You are protected. You are no longer that person who is hurting or who is witnessing someone being hurt. The reason I said witnessing is because for most of us ladies, if you have witnessed your parents going through GBV, it's a very difficult thing to witness. I have been very privileged and blessed to have a balanced household. We had our own issues, but I can definitely say we didn't hurt each other. And that is a blessing. It's not the case for everyone else. So just take a deep breath and remember you are loved and you are protected. You are valid. So witnessing SGBV, this comes in to our definition of trauma, where it's secondary trauma, where you witness someone else going through something. Most households, especially those of us who are in our late 20s, going on to 30s and 40s, most households have witnessed a form of violence between our parents, perhaps. Or maybe you had a parent who themselves was just very abusive and would beat everyone up in the house. What is that feeling that you got at that age? What is that adverse feeling that you got? Most of it was fear, apprehension, pain. You felt hurt, even when it wasn't you specifically going through it. What was your defense mechanism, perhaps? Trust issues? Maybe you just stopped letting people in. You would shut yourself off. You would even harm yourself. You would self-harm. You will develop maybe disordered eating and such on. What were the consequences of this? I remember last week we talked about this last week being a reflective week. I'm hoping we did some reflection, and after I finish, I will definitely like to hear what we reflected on. What happened in our childhood, perhaps, that affects us. It affects our general beliefs and attitude. What are our belief systems? And what trauma are they rooted in? For instance, I remember there was a time, there was this belief system that if a man doesn't beat you up, he does not love you. These were wild times. I remember I was very young listening to these comments from random ladies, and it was just accepted that if a man doesn't beat you, he doesn't love you. We are debunking these myths. We are calling them what they are: abuse. So if this is our belief system, how do we break free? How do we cross this bridge into acceptance? How do you walk away from abusive situations? These belief systems work because you have seen this happening over time. your parent was abused, your grandparent was abused. When you will be abused, you will take it. You will think that this is how love and affection is expressed. Just the other day, there was one popular presenter who on camera basically threatened their daughter. They had done something wrong. And he had the daughter repeat this statement that ukirudia tena nitakunyonga. And he made this kid repeat this over and over and over again. And this kid kept crying and saying, I love you, I love you. And finally, the guy was like, okay, I love you too. But you understand that if you repeat this, I will kill you. You cannot use abuse and affirmation in the same sentence. This confuses people. This confuses young girls into accepting abuse in their lives. When your boyfriend shoves you or when they emotionally abuse you, of course, later they're going to apologize. There is no abuser who just starts abusing you and then it's punches and kicks and all this. It always starts small. It starts with the words they tell you. But you will remember, oh yeah, my dad used to really, really beat me up because he loved me. And that is not the case. So how are we going to cross this bridge into acceptance? And what does acceptance look to you? What does it look like to you? Is it accepting that, yes, this is a toxic situation I'm going to stay in? Is it accepting that nimepigwa manake nimekosea? Because there is that, where you genuinely, they brainwash you and you think for sure I deserved this beating. This person loves me so deeply. That is why when I made them so angry, they beat me up. So I'm giving you the floor once again. Maybe we'll have one person. Tell us, how do you break free? How do you accept? I know we've had these discussions before on this platform, so I'm sure this is going to be a very easy conversation. And if you are called to sharing your experience, I would like to remind you again that you are safe. This is a safe space. Nothing you say here will be used against you later on. So please, if you have gone through something similar, or if you know someone who has gone through something similar, and they are in a place where you know they have accepted and they have broken free, how did they cross this river from unintended consequences and the beliefs and attitudes that form because of unintended consequences? How did they cross that bridge successfully into the green zone in our river of cruelty?
Wow, thank you very much, Kazo. Question to the audience: who can tell us how they have the river, or stories of someone they know that has crossed the river, and what made them cross the river? That is the question. You may raise your hand, or you may write on the call chat. How did a woman turn the tables from being hurt, from being downtrodden, to being victorious? That is the question. Do you know a story? Is it your story? Is it a story that you know of? Anybody? Something on the call chat, I believe. Abigail say, to me, I had to forgive this person and move on. Thank you very much. That's a contribution. Maisha Kimakini, yes, all the way from Nairobi. You have your hand up, please.
Yeah, hi again, bro. And I'm just here to say that it's a really good topic, and Kazo is giving it. Our sister Kazo is giving point after point and narrating everything in a very understandable way. So it's really saddening to see people coming together instead of loving one another and creating an understanding or creating good knowledge or maturity or guidance for their kids. They're coming together to hurt one another, to kill or maybe destroy each other's mental health. And when I was growing up here in Majengo, we had a lot of those kind of fights. We had a lot of people um, um, people like kind of destroying their kids' mental health. And we had this one mzee. He was called Mzee Abdallah, and may Allah grant him Jannah, inshallah. He was a very very, ulikuwa nasema mzee mkali, unaona, and he was kind of bringing you guys together. And before he became this mzee of kuleta maelewano, he was first and foremost, him himself, he was abusing his wife. And he reached a point whereby he was approached by wazee wa msikitini, the elders from the mosque, and he got told, "Niaje, this is not good thing. You're teaching your kids a very bad way of life, and your kids will come later on, abuse their wives, abuse every woman." And he started this initiative whereby he was really talking to young people who wanted to get into marriages or in relationships. And this is what we lack in this generation. We don't have men. We don't have, like me here. I talk to young people who, as in about these things. These things are happening everywhere. And we have to be vocal. We have to be people who talk about these things. The things, the kind of abuse, you as a man abusing your wife, beating up your wife, we have to be against this thing. And women have been fighting for this thing for so long. So we men, can we talk about this thing in a way that our brothers, our fathers, our young sons and future generation can understand how evil, how weak this thing makes us look? Because myself, I believe any man who can raise his hand and beat either any woman or his wife or any woman, I think that man is a weak person. He's not, he doesn't even deserve to be called a man. So we need to be vocal. We need to help our sisters and also understand, as in try to be also on the front line in talking about this thing, because it's high time we need to end this thing, inshallah. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Maisha Kimakini, for putting that in perspective. Of course, sad realities, but yes, we are here and we need to do something in our own small ways. Kadzo, our time is almost up. I believe you want to take us through how are the strategies for us to break through from such kind of shackles. So kindly take your 5 minutes and then we close.
Yes, Mohammed. I think I'll let my colleague Omar take us through the components we need to break free and to cross the bridge. I feel like I have just talked and talked and talked and talked. Omar, this is for you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Matano Omar. I want to say Happy Women's Day first. Before we go on. So as we are winding up, when we look at the river or that model, we see it taking us to the acceptance zone. For us to accept ourselves, we have to first forgive ourselves. We just forgive ourselves on what has happened before we have that a courage to forgive others in whatever they have done to us. Then second, we can seek justice. That is justice from various institutions, from the elders, from friends, and all the other places where we can seek justice. And another thing, we have to accept the truth. What happened in this model, or the whole of this river of cruelty, which is a model that reflects our life experiences, we just have to accept that what happened was the truth of it, and we have to start fresh or move on. That's how we are going to cross that river. That's how we're going to let everything go. But if we keep them, it will be hard for us to cross this river. We can also accept ourselves through making good friends. You know, good friends are a tool for building ourselves. So if we make good friends, it makes us get motivated. We get a new focus, and we live a good life. With those few remarks, I would like to say thank you, everyone. Today was Women's Day. That's why I gave my sister a lot of time to express this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Omar. Our time is up, and you wrapped it up very, very well. That the first step to reincarnation, or the first step for us to transform from our pains, is actually to let go of our pains. You know, to accept that yes, it happened, but it's not the end of the world. To say, to forgive ourselves, and then to forgive those people who perpetrated our pains. A very famous speaker, renowned Martin Luther King Jr. said, "I choose to love. I choose to love because to hate is too much a burden to bear." He said, "I choose to love because to hate is too much a burden to bear." Have you ever realized how much heaviness you carry when you hate someone? Have you ever imagined how much heaviness you carry when you hate someone? What if you hate 10 people? You are actually blocking yourself from development because you are carrying too much weight, even the people around you. So Omar says we have to forgive ourselves first, to let go of the pain, and then to forgive those people who perpetrated the heinous pain on us. But it is always said you can forgive but not forget, so that if you forgive and forget, you might find yourself again on the doorstep of someone who can hurt you again. But it's important to forgive yourselves, to forgive the people who meted on you the pain, and then you move on as a free spirit, and then you create more relationships and create more bridges to cross towards your destiny. So thank you very much, Kadzo and Omar, for a wonderful session. I can see there's quite a Bible written on the call chat. First from Mahmoud, he says acceptance can bring impact both positively or negatively, but what should be avoided is assumptions. Acceptance better hit the nail on the wound. Most of us run from truth to avoid much talks, but it adds up and eat you up till reach a time the bitter hell part blast. Okay, that's such a heavy message from Brother Mahmoud. And he continues saying, which effective normal chant, dad's boy or mom's girl, its impact grows bigger. Accept to be corrected. Thank you very much. Mahmoud Abdul Hamid says, I knew a Kalenjin girl named Nelly who used to have kidney problems. She was not able to hold her bladders for a longer period, so she often urinated on her dress. She became a laughingstock in her school until when she decided to face the administration that explained her problem. She was given a chance to sit near her class entrance to be able to rush to the loo at any time she felt pressed. That helped her ever since, and the laughing stopped. Oh my goodness, such an incredible Abdul Hamid to share. Kazo says, good point on not forgetting. Thank you very much, everyone. It's 6 minutes past 9. It has been a wonderful session, very interactive. And thank you for all of you who contributed. And let's meet next week, Tuesday, like today. The team, KQ team, will advise us which topic we are in. Are we going into the thicker of things, effects of broken families and how that can be addressed, or are we not there yet? Kadzo, Manaisha, and everybody. Abigail, which topic are we getting into next week? Remember, it is our 30th episode, so it has to be a special episode. You can suggest the topic on your call chat as we exit the platform. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.